Wow, what an insane pump. Look at this. Bitcoin's almost at 28K now. And stock market, the Nasdaq is pumping as well. Is this the start of a new bull market? Well, in my recent videos and tweets, I've been saying that we're going to have what I call a big bounce or a small bull. Why don't I call it a full-on bull market? It's because this latest effort to rescue all the banks, the bank bailouts by the Fed, what they call the BTFP program, is not a real QE or money printing pump. So JP Morgan estimated, and I told you guys that it's going to be something like a $2 trillion liquidity pump QEing again to rescue the market. But actually, it's going to be nowhere near that. So you guys need to be careful if you think this is a full-blown bull market. Why? Because that $2 trillion is a theoretical limit that if all the banks went and applied and swapped in their bonds, that's how much they would get. But not all the banks are going to do that. In fact, probably only something like 3% of banks, 5% of banks will ever tap into the Fed's BTFP program. Now, we all know that when the Federal Reserve is printing and pumping money like they were doing in 2021, then there will be a giant bull market. And look at this. This is the Fed asset balance sheet, and they've just made this massive pump into the market. Is this a full-on QE, and is the bull market coming? Now, let's look at the facts closely. See, the Federal Reserve pumped a total of $303 billion into the market last week. However, of which half of it was borrowings by the bank, right? Because they were bankrupt. They were seized by the FDIC. And out of the other 150 billion, 148 billion were borrowings from the bank from the net discount window. And another 12 billion or so is part of this new BTFP funding, bank term funding program, or the bailout program. So out of the 300 billion, it's only something like $12 billion that's kind of QE or being pumped into the market. Now, the Fed, we know, has been doing QT, which is taking liquidity or money out of the markets, and they take about $95 billion out of the market per month. And now we've just added it back. As we've just shown you, out of this 300 billion, only about 12 billion is actually really QEing back into the market. But that's for 1 week. So over a matter of 1 month, we're looking at about $50 to $52 billion. So which means the Fed's QT effort has been halved. See, that is the Fed, which is the largest central bank in the world. What about the number 2 central bank in the world? The China Central Bank has just cut their reserve requirement ratio by 0.25%. So that means China is actually pumping money into their economy. Now, the Fed, as I've just demonstrated, has cut their QT by half. And China is pumping money. So that's why we're going to get a big bounce and a small bull, but not a full-on bull market yet. So these jokers are trying to shut us down on TikTok. So click on the stem button on my bio page and follow me across Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.